What is up, boy? TC back with another video. So I thought I'd put out a quick review of the game yesterday against Sporting Lisbon, and as we all know, the score ended up 0-0, but the main talking point really from this game would have been the fact that Danny Welbeck picked up a terrible injury. So if you all watched the video that I did yesterday, I was talking about the injuries that Danny Welbeck picked or has picked up since he's joined Arsenal. Of course, these injuries are not his fault, of course. Hello Alex, how you doing? And essentially he ended up picking up a terrible injury. Reports are suggesting that he may be out for the rest of the season as we speak, but it was an ankle injury and it happened early on, and it was about 30 minutes into the game, and I do believe up until that point he was having quite a good game in my opinion. But let's just talk about the starting lineup on the evening. So Unai Emery again made some wholesale changes. It was 9 changes overall from the previous game that we played. And in goal we saw Petr Cech. At right back we saw Lichtsteiner playing. And in the middle of defence, we did see Socrates come back into the team. He was a bit of a doubt before the game obviously kicked off. And we saw Rob Holding continue in defence. And what an absolute fantastic run he's on in terms of the appearances that he's making in the first team. And of course, we obviously kept a clean sheet. So he is doing something. And I've been absolutely impressed with him this whole season so far. He's been absolutely magnificent for us. At left back, we saw the return of Carl Jenkinson. I don't know why. As soon as I mention Carl Jenkinson, I can't really take him seriously as a footballer. And we'll talk about his wild swing at an attempt to make a volley, or to actually take a volley from a corner. In the middle of the park, we had Ramsey as well as Guendouzi. As anticipated, Guendouzi returned to the team. He's obviously serving a domestic ban from the red card that he picked during the Carabao Cup against Blackpool. And the 3 behind the striker were Iwobi, Mkhitaryan and Emile Smith-Rowe, who had a decent performance in my opinion. And up top, we obviously saw Danny Welbeck start. So as we all know, the result ended up being a 0-0 draw. That was obviously enough for us to actually go through to the knockout phases of the competition, which is what we obviously anticipated as fans. I was basically just anticipating us to go through into the knockout phases. Are we going to finish as top of the group? Chances are, I do believe we will certainly finish top of that group, but we have a long trip coming ahead, and I do believe that's to the Ukraine, and it's going to be a difficult journey, of course, for the team. And I do believe we will certainly come back with the 3 points on that occasion, and that will be the 5th game within the group itself. So it's gonna be quite easy, I'd like to think. We've been in fine form. However, talking about our form, so far it's been 15 unbeaten. But in the last 4, we've actually had 3 draws. Of course, 1 draw was against Liverpool, the other draw was against Crystal Palace, and of course, this is obviously cup competition, so it's okay. But the draws that concern me now, of course, it's been a fine run for us. 15 games unbeaten, don't get me wrong, absolutely enjoying it. But what concerns me are the draws in the league. So with facing Wolves at the weekend, that's not going to be easy as well. I will be doing a preview for that, but of course we need to start getting the points on the board in the Premier League. But of course, again, the result didn't really matter yesterday. All we needed was just a point for us to go through into the knockout phases of the game. So of course it was a very frustrating game for us as fans. Sporting Lisbon were very resolute. They kept their defence essentially watertight, and they weren't really allowing us to play and get in behind them. But when we were going through behind them, we weren't taking our chances. Danny Welbeck, before he went off, he had a few good chances. One of them really was cleared off the line, and that should have been a goal in my opinion, but it just didn't have enough to get over the line. As well as the fact that when Aubameyang came on, he did not tuck away his chances. There's one chance that he was through on goal, and essentially he decided to shoot to the near post rather than go across the keeper. Of course, I'm not a professional footballer, but in that particular point, I would have thought he would have been able to just sort of hit it across the goal, and it would have definitely beat the keeper, in my opinion, if he'd gone the other way. But of course, we never did take our chances. We were lacking that cutting edge, and I do believe that was the lack of Mesut Ozil within that midfield area, who would have been creating fantastic passes, etc. However, we did have young Guendouzi. He was trying, in my opinion. His passing was absolutely sublime, in my personal opinion. He was finding good balls, in particular towards the end. He found a fantastic ball for Kolasinac on the left-hand side, once Kolasinac had come on as a sub, and it was a fine ball, but unfortunately the cross amounted to nothing. But essentially what we lacked was the cutting edge. So we picked up 2 injuries yesterday. Let's talk about one of them first of all, and this was the Lichtsteiner injury, who ended up being replaced by young Maitland-Niles. Lichtsteiner hobbled off. It looked like a hamstring injury, so I'm not too sure if that's going to be serious or not, if it will keep him out for a long time. We've not had any reports coming out suggesting how long he will be out for. And the second injury, which ended up, as I said, being the huge talking point from the game, really was the injury to Danny Welbeck. Really sad for him, really. He's been having a good season, and I believe if he'd stayed on, he would have actually bagged himself a goal yesterday. He was getting chances, getting into the box, but he just landed awkwardly. And of course, yesterday we spoke about the injuries that he's picked up since joining Arsenal, but on this occasion it was just one of those unlucky situations where he finds himself just landing awkwardly on his ankle, and reports are suggesting that his ankle is broken and we may not see him up until the end of the season. And obviously we do know what the situation is with his contract. Is Arsenal going to offer him a new contract? We don't know. Based on what we've seen so far this season, I do believe he warrants a new contract, but I'm guessing due to the new wage structure coming into the club, that may not be the case. They may actually just decide to dispense him away. I was hoping for a transfer in January, which would have obviously got us a fee to another club. Of course, a number of clubs will be interested in his services, but it doesn't look like this is going to happen. If he's injured, I can't see him going anywhere in January. He may just run down his contract, and we will probably lose him for free in the summer. But of course, these things do tend to change. I don't know what Unai Emery does really think of him. Really, he's spoken about Aaron Ramsey in regards to the contract situation, but he's not spoke about Danny Welbeck personally. But obviously, we do all wish him all the best, a speedy recovery, and we hope to see him back into the team soon. But he's proved to be a fantastic utility player for us in terms of coming in and the cup games, etc. And I didn't mind him as the first choice striker if we were playing cup games. Of course, we do have the firepower in the form of Lacazette and Aubameyang, but what happens if either one of those gets injured or both of them get injured at the same time? That's one of my main concerns. However, the main point again will be that we've qualified into the knockout phases, and hopefully we can march on into this competition, and hopefully we can top up the group, of course, finish the leaders in the group. That will make our run into the knockout phases slightly easier in theory. But as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.